latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Sending you guys a bit of a review video on a product from Vango. So with me here today, I've got the Vango Balletto. So the Vango Balletto is basically comes in two different fabrics. You can either choose the normal shield material or they do a slightly higher grade Pro Shield material. So we've done a separate video for the Pro Shield version and we're going to talk about basically what I'd call the normal version or the starting point, shall we say. So the Balletto kind of shield is available in sort of three sizes. You can get it in a 260, which I have with me here today, a 330 or a 390. So you can really pick and choose how big or small you wish to have your caravan awning. We saw the Balletto really introduced into 21, and it was a start of kind of Vango really recreating their kind of caravan awning range and almost putting a different hat on in terms of the design of it and the functionality of it. And I think it was very well received in 21. And going forward to 22, the new kind of changes of sizes, I think it's quite crucial. It's kind of more into line with what we kind of expect or maybe see from our brands. And in terms of the fit on caravans as well, I think it also works a little bit better to that extent. What we've got is their kind of the elements sort of shield material. So it's about 150 denier, about UPF rating about 50 plus. It's a really nice strong material, really nice and waterproof as well, but lightweight, so you haven't got to worry too much about pack size or pack weight. Again, it makes it all easier when feeding it into the rail, but it's more of a kind of definitely a touring awning, something you would take for shorter spells, but there's no reason you can't take it along for a little bit longer. It's not really designed to be up for longer periods of time, just more down to the UV than anything else. One thing was sort of Vango really sort of upped its game on is its inflation system. So this actually has Vango's single point inflation, so it means it's very easy to pitch the whole thing up. You can basically feed it through the rail, sort of peg it out approximately, pump it up from a single point up, and then peg and guide from there. So that's something we can see from our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video of myself doing it. Very simple and quick and easy to do. And again, it took me no more than 8 minutes to do something like the 330 size, for example. So the 260 size is a little bit different to the 330 and 390 in the normal sort of shield collection. The only real difference in terms of the products is the fact that the front panels on the 260 aren't removable. They sort of merely zip into the side like we have here, whereas with the 330 and the 390, the complete panels can be completely removed to help reduce the overall pack weight and size. On all of the models, the side panels can be completely removed. So again, it helps to reduce the overall weight and size. It means you almost can have a separate bag storing all the bits and bobs to go with it. So you have two more manageable weighted sort of bags. You only get one bag initially, I would say, so you'd have to buy an additional bag. But it means you can split into two. Easy to store somewhere around the caravan, but also more manageable when you want to feed it directly through the rail and you're removing components and making it more manageable overall. With the ability of removing the side panels, what you can also do is interchange the panels itself. This will essentially move the side door into position, which we'll have a look at later on. Failing that, we've also got an additional annexes that you can buy to go on either side. So then again, that works really well. It's worth noting that the annex, which we see here with the pole, will also fit any of the other Vango awnings in the range. Admittedly, the colour probably won't match, but if you want something sort of not so it's going to break the bank and just more a price pointed offering, with a pole that works really well. It's got its own kind of rear door and ventilation and inner bedroom included with it as well. And it can go on either side, as I've mentioned. You have two if you really, really wanted to. The single point inflation is great because it means it's very easy to pitch. There's only two internal bracing beams you put into the roof section, but one thing that's sort of a unique point about it is that it sort of self-regulates itself. So there's no point to going inside and turning any taps. It's all isolated off once you physically inflate it up. Again, it's one less thing you kind of have to worry about. So that is located down here for the single inflation point. Above it, we've got another valve here. Now, we've got them at the same level on each beam. Now, this is going to be your inflation or deflation point. So if you don't want to go down lines of single point inflation, which for me, I certainly would, certainly when you've got like an electric pump or even the manual pump, but if you want to get the air out, you've got several deflation points on every single beam. So again, it's very easy to kind of pack away and get it back into its bag as we want to be. We've got webbing straps which come included with it completely, so not only for the front but also for the side, and that's really quite nice that you find that normally it's an optional extra you kind of have to fork out yourself for. But Vango really took a lot of care in making sure that everything you pretty much need for this, apart from maybe the carpet, comes included as standard. So when you look at this, it was almost like they're building on extra items. So from a value point of view, I think it works really well. You know, there's probably in the region of about 70 to 80 pounds worth of kit included with this that you would normally have to, you know, spend out to. So that's definitely a consideration you have to look at when you're comparing one awning to another. The fabric and the tone I think works really well. The shape has been really nicely designed. It's a very kind of boxy kind of shape, so it means it maximises your internal space. It's a standard depth of 2.5 meters, but obviously then you dictate how wide you want it to be it the 260, the 330 and the 390. Again, that's all centimeters in terms of the overall width. It's worth also mentioning that it comes down to kind of 2 panels, so it's always going to be 2 panels, whether it be whatever size it is, so the characteristics of how it looks will also be the same. On the side we can also see we've got a top here, a little roof vent, so that's helped increase airflow and help obviously fight condensation, which certainly when it comes to polyester awnings is definitely a bit of a pain in the derriere. But I like the idea that you can obviously have an annex onto it, and what we'll do, we'll flip kind of the camera around. In fact, let's go round and have a look now and have a bit more of a look on the opposite side of it. So you can see as we kind of come around itself, we've got the side panel, which you can see there. So what you can see is you've almost got this kind of almost 70-30 scenario with the side panel. So we've got sort of main window and then door section. These can be interchanged. So what you can allow it to do is move the door position rather than being next to the caravan, be it at the front here. So it means it's going to help with your internal flow. And then you've got curtains on all of the windows located here. Really nice detail in the clips. So all of the kind of tension points for doing doors and that stuff are kind of like a little buckle clip. It's much easier to kind of use, and especially if you've got best for hands or if it's cold and wearing gloves, that works well as well. And then even the kind of little zip pullers, again, a bit more oversized and easier to kind of grasp. You've got a really nice kind of spiral chain oversized zips in here as well. And again, that's going to help kind of the durability of it. If we open up this side panel, what you've got in the door itself is also a mesh panel. So again, you can have kind of airflow into the actual part itself. In fact, let's just zip the door up, the easier is that way. So one opens, and then again this can actually physically roll back, so you have your mesh panel built into it. You can again help with airflow directly in, and you've got that on both side panels, which I think works really quite well. And you can probably see a bit clearer that kind of roof vent up there to help with kind of airflow. It sort of doesn't actually kind of have a wing anymore, so it means that in terms of its overall fit, it doesn't need as much rail to kind of get that to cover. But I'll tell you what, let's kind of move inside kind of the Balletto and talk through a load more features that it has. So now we're inside the Balletto, you can probably appreciate for kind of the overall size in here. And the first thing I probably want to point out is when we talked about the outside, about that real kind of boxy frame, you can really see that. I mean, I'm 6'2", I can stand up nearly directly under that beam, and this helps really to bring furniture and things like that closer to the edge. So it means you can utilise more of your space and again get yourself a little bit further away from kind of the caravan step and the caravan itself. So again, I think that is kind of very important. What we also see is actually kind of the beam system here, and very subtly kind of the piping that basically distributes the air from the central beam directly up and out to the rest of the beams as well. Each beam is kind of located individually, but if need be, you can repair it quite happily on its own kind of cord, like you see there. We can actually see again, as well as you've got this sky track running through here. So this is basically Vango's kind of own way of having a hanging point for a lantern, or you can use it for sort of storage organisers and that sort of stuff, you know, located quite happily, neatly down from there. Other things, like I said, you've got the braces beams which you insert afterwards, so they just Velcro in and Velcro out as you see fit, and don't take an awful lot in terms of kind of overall inflation itself. With the annex at the back, you can obviously appreciate the extra bit of space you've got in here. Happily to put a couple of 2 people in the bedroom section itself, or remove the inner completely, which is really nice and dark if you wanted to. You've also got a divider on the actual inner tent, and then also another additional curtain on the actual part as well. So you can actually completely zip that shut, so you wouldn't even see there's an annex there, and you've got 2 divisional walls. So you can choose whether they want their privacy or you want your privacy without disturbing one another. And again, some nice vents and storage pockets built into the actual annex part itself. And we'll kind of bring the camera inside a little bit later to go through a little bit more of that up close. Really nice range of carpets that also kind of match kind of the Balletto kind of style. And again, it depends on the width you go for, which carpet you have to suit. Now, it features kind of Vango's own unique draft seal system. So this is a system, rather than having, say, poles that push against the caravan, it sort of fits into the rolling channel at the bottom and then creates a sort of fixation point at the bottom, along with the one already in the top in the actual awning. And you can use like an adjustment to sort of press foam pads and get that kind of really nice and firmly against the caravan. Have a look at, we've done a separate draft seal system you can check out as well to get a bit more of an in-depth look of that. So if you want more details of that, that's a great way of doing it. But again, it's one of those extras that you would normally pay extra for, but is included as standard with kind of the Balletto itself. We saw the vents on the outside, we see there's a vent at the top here as well, and you've got little clips located at the top here if you want to put extra bedrooms inside of the actual awning itself. So if you don't want to go to the extent of an annex, you can buy a bedroom just to kind of take up half the room, depending on the model itself. The Skytrack carries along here, so there's a range of storage pockets you can also go along the caravan if you so wish. But overall, in terms of size, you've got obviously, a decent amount of room, great PVC windows in there, and you've got these lovely kind of patterned caravan curtains. So you can leave it stored at the bottom if you wanted to. Little button clips, so it's very easy to kind of just open and use. Take the zips fully up to the top to get the ultimate coverage and privacy when you wanted to. Alternatively, like I say, you can go almost down halfway if you want a little bit of coverage, but still allow a bit of light to come directly in. Keep the dogs not from looking outside. So again, that's a really nice kind of thing. I think that they've kind of worked on, and things like the button clips and stuff like that, or press studs, or depends what you want to call them, makes life a lot easier, and again gives it a little bit more of a premium feel. We've got a heavy duty kind of PVC skirt that runs along the bottom, so it's easy to kind of clean muck and mud off. And again, it's all about kind of durability and long lifespan really of something like this. But overall, I think it's a really quite nice place to be. Let's kind of bring the camera inside and kind of give you a bit more of a feel for the Balletto in its entirety. So as you come inside, so we've got the annex, which I think will kind of flock to you straight away. You've obviously got a really nice dark bedroom, and like I said, you can use it kind of for storage, and you've got a rear door as well, which is worth mentioning. Storage pockets built into the sides on both sides, so more happy to keep kids or grandkids out of the way in that section, or even overall guests. So you've got the parts all in work. That's the kind of tube part here that distributes the air in, and you've got the brace beam in the roof there with kind of the Skytrack that runs directly down. I wouldn't say it's a simplistic awning, because it is a little bit more than that, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it's a really nicely well done. It gives you your core what you need without necessarily being overly expensive. Air, so it's quick and easy. Robust materials, but sits and looks quite sharp kind of overall. So I think as an offering, it looks really nice. It's certainly one that we'll have at our indoor display showroom. So if you have any more questions and queries about it, or want to see it in the flesh, it's a really good opportunity to kind of probably do that. But certainly from an offering, it's something a little bit different. And if you wanted the next level up, that's when you would kind of look at the more the Balletto Pro Shield. Only real difference between the two models, same size as the fabric, and you get a roof liner included. So we've got, like I said, a separate video of that as well as the packing videos. But for more information on the Balletto at any stage, you're welcome to check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website. We've got more information on pack sizes, pack weights, floor dimensions, individual feature specs, and you can obviously then compare and contrast that with other brands and other sizes in kind of the overall Vango range, to be fair as well. But that's our little video review on kind of the new and updated Balletto. So obviously that's available currently in a 260, 330 and 390. So thank you for watching. Any more question queries, do feel free to let us know. But hopefully we'll see you again soon.